Hi, and welcome to this channel. I am Kouki K. Today's video, I would love to share what I recently was able to kind of like converge into a phrase, like a sentence, by watching a particular video, and I learned it from a person, like a speaker in a video, and is the phrase, as the title says, who I am and who I am not. And when I saw this sentence or heard this sentence that this person said in the video, it was as if there was like a light bulb lighten up in me, and I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's true. Like you, like in life, you really have to realize who you are and who you are not at the same time. Because a lot of the time that, for self-actualization or a lot of personal development kind of contents, they would like teach you or ask you to just discover who you are, but not really talking about the aspect of who you are not. Like you also have to find that out. So if put into a more logical sense, maybe I would say it's the elimination process as well for who I am not, right? It's like you know who you are not, and so you know more of who you are. But it's also important that it doesn't actually have to be just in the elimination kind of a sense, but it's more of knowing that what one is not, like, or who I am not. It can really help us to realize that, oh, what I have been doing is actually somebody else's expectation, or somebody else's or societal expectations, and it's actually not what I truly want. And it's only through this process, at that point of realizing that, oh, it's actually not what I wanted, not what I truly want, I might not be able to know what I actually want at that point yet. But it's just through the realization of realizing who I am not can help me to crystallize, to further understand who I am. So it's a process of it, but not exactly because I know who I am not, so I exactly know who I am right now. It's not this, like from a personal experience, I would say it's not from personal experience. And that is why I would love to share this understanding today with you guys, because I find it especially meaningful to see in this way. And when I actually dive into it, like self-reflection, I realized that it not only does it concern parts of our life that would be, just about personal development, but it's also about seeing how myself would link to all aspects of my external, and realizing that, oh wow, so at that point it was actually not what I wanted, but I thought that's what I wanted, but it's actually from my parents. Like it's only in these kind of moments that would I come to reuniting with my truth. But that part of the truth, it doesn't have to be I already know what I want, but it could just be I realize that that's not mine. Like that thing, that particular aspiration, that particular belief, that particular sense of identity for a particular role is actually not what I resonate with, but I just pick it up from someone else, or from a trend, or from a friend, or parent. So it's really the unraveling layer by layer through the process of who I am and who I am not. And if to put it in another sentence, I think it would be to realizing where I stand. And that where I stand has that kind of like the x-axis and the y-axis, right? So it's kind of like the x-axis is who I am and the y-axis is who I am not. So it's like finding that particular position on the on the graph. On the graph, where do I stand? There are four quadrants, and where do I stand? But it changes. It's not that it's stagnant. It's not that it's fixated. It's not that I'm this point here and forever it should be. I feel like it's a process of it keeps moving, and we are all very dynamic individuals, and so when life goes on, our dynamics, personal dynamics, would be influenced by the incidents and events in life that we have encountered and people that we meet in the future, upcoming, or in the past, people we've met. So it's kind of like changing all the time. But it's in the midst of all of this life events, encounters, we would learn more about ourselves. It's kind of like they are the external situations and people. They act as catalysts to help us to realize who I am and who I am not. So now, that being said, in the following, I would like to share a few of, I would say, my personal experience when it comes to different kinds of influences regarding who I am and who I'm not. So for the first one, I would go back to childhood, because parental influence would be one of the biggest shaping, one of the biggest forces to shape who we are, our perception on ourselves. So that's why I would like to start with parental influence. For me, I used to think I would say I love design a lot since a kid. Design, okay, like particularly fashion design when I was a kid. So I would say that's just something it comes natural to me. It's something that I just naturally love it. I just love designing, but I don't really dress myself up, but I just love designing. And so when I grow older, I would, here's the thing, because of my family dynamics when I was young, I picked up the habit of fawning, like fawn, F-A-W-N, fawning, because of a toxic family situation. So I would fawn and people please, especially to my father, because the reason is like it's because I did. When I people please him, fawning, it feels like he would be happy, so I would feel safe. So that's a red flag, okay? If anyone feels like if you have to please a person in order to feel safe just because they feel happy, so then you know that they would not have an emotional outburst. That means this person is a very this person is kind of like an energy vampire, because it's very draining, okay? It's like you have to walk on eggshells all the time. So let's put that aside. But what I meant was, because I picked up this kind of habit psychologically and also physically as well, so I would try to people please him by saying into the things that he likes, such as, because he loves money, he loves making a lot of money, he loves success, like being the spotlight and having status in society, having people respect him because of his status. I mean, that's something, it's quite, that's what he wanted, right? I mean, I respect him. But when I was young, he would, I kind of knew he would like something like land, real estate, And so I would say something like, oh, when I grow up, I'm gonna buy a castle and have a vineyard, have vineyard and have wine, But it turns out I don't even drink alcohol now. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, right? If I were to do it. And also, after I grow up, I think I actually realized this only when I was in my early 20s, that, oh, it's actually not, it's actually just, I was saying that just because I was trying to please him. Like in my early 20s, I realized that. So see, this is like gradual process of unraveling. And only then I realized, oh, it's actually not what I want. It's not what I wanted, nor what I want, because I actually wouldn't want to live in a castle. It's too huge, like it's too big and it's so inconvenient. Like I would love to visit it for vacation purposes or, just traveling, sightseeing, but I would not actually want to live in one. It's so weird. Like it's not like living in, because I didn't realize that, I actually prefer a cozy home, and it doesn't have to be big. It can be just an apartment, and that's good enough for me. And I just want it to be cozy and nice and home. That's it. And it's so much easier for me to take care of, less surface area, and so I can clean easier, right? Not like a castle. And of course with a vineyard, like, come on, that's so much work and so much maintenance, right? So much maintenance. So I then realized that's not who I am. Then who I am, right? And then I realized, I actually just need a small flat, and I'm just happy with it. Living simply, right? Simple living. So that's the progress of, like, one example I wanted to point out when it comes to parental influence, is that I thought I wanted money. And that's also why I went into business school later, after I graduated from high school. So I actually changed fields of studies for a few times, I would say, because in high school I studied science, so chemistry and biology, okay, high school. But then later, when I graduated, I went into university, which is actually a business school, an actual business school dedicated for business. So I went to business school, but did I actually know what I wanted? No, like I just followed the not infinite flow. Like I followed the trend, and I followed what I thought I wanted. So partly it would be from my parent, particularly my father, because he's a businessman. So I thought that's what I wanted. You see, like I thought that's what I wanted, and also at the same time I didn't know what I wanted. And there are many people would choose to go into business because they also don't know what they wanted, and so I did the same. So that would be going into societal influence, right? It's because I didn't know what I wanted, plus I just thought that might be good for me as well, because I see everybody doing it. So that would be societal influence, and also social influence. Like that would be the friend group, because I didn't know, because it's just so easy. It's the easiest way out to go with the I was gonna say flow, but it's not a flow. If a person is actually going with the flow, this person knows what he or she is doing. Like, okay, so but I didn't, and I went into business school. Now that would then get me into the society thing, right? So that's why now in the part that is talking about societal influence, no, I didn't like it at all. I did not like it. I did not like the experience of being in the business school. It's so fake. It's so fake. It's so competitive. It's so I would actually say meaningless to me. I'm not saying that it is meaningless, but it's just meaningless to me. It could be very meaningful to another person, but it's just meaningless to me, because it's not actually what I vibe with, right? It's not actually what I wanted. So naturally, I would feel very drained when I go doing something repetitively for years. And so what I experienced was that I actually dropped out I quit after first year because I couldn't stand it. But at the same time, I was experiencing quite, I wouldn't say to the point of severe, but it affected my life so much. At the time, was depression and anxiety disorder. So I really had to take care of my health first before pursuing the academic aspect of me. So of myself. So I really had to dedicate myself on, taking better care of myself. And so then I took some time off uni, and I just worked on I just worked in different fields, so just to explore the possibilities of what I could do or who I am, So I think that's really about it. I think that's from that point on, I realized I've learned to take risk and just explore from that point on. Even if I went on a different pathway than all my peers, because there would be stress in me at that time because everyone else would be in universities and I was not, because I dropped out. And so it really was a hard time for me to navigate, but I just decided to not go into that direction of thinking, oh, everyone is in university. But was there stress? Yes, there was. But I was like, okay, it's all about experience, isn't it? So I'm just going to explore what I can do, what I can do, and also about myself. But I wouldn't say that I was that clear with what I'm saying right now, but it's just there's an instinct in me that I personally, I would not sit still. As in, I know I have to figure it out. So instead of sitting there all day, I decided to go out and explore and just, we learn best, humans, by experience. So that's why I decided to experience it. And so I worked several jobs. One was in the kitchen. So I tried, to do actual hands-on things, physical labor. I tried it. It's not for me. I just know, no, I can't do physical labor. It's not my strength. It's not my strength. And then I can plan it, but I'm just not good at carrying it out. Especially in a very fast-paced environment, working environment. No, I'm not. That's not my strength. It's not where I should be. And then I switched to working as a secretary for a vice president in the F&B department in a hotel. Okay, so that's it. But it's just a very normal secretary job. And so I took that job, and it was so boring. It was so boring. But I mean, of course I have money, and I don't actually have to do much. I have so much free time, 8 hours of work, 8 hours of working hours. I possibly only spent 2 hours working, and that's it. I think less. So, but then I would get the pay every single month, right? But some people love it, but I just can't. I could not stand it. It was so boring. So what I did was quite quickly actually. I haven't even passed probation. The time, 3 months notice, probation. I already was on the search of something else because I knew that's not for me. I can't even foresee myself sitting in the office like this and for the next years. I can't. I could not when I was at that age. I think I was 19 at that age. So yeah, I was 19. So I then became aware of what can I do then. I then started to search. And so on that desk, there was a magazine on the desk when I was working as a secretary. So there was this magazine, it's a local magazine, and I flipped it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. There's fashion and stuff. And so that ignited in me again. I was like, oh, fashion. So I was like, oh, what if I go write it? And then so I searched it up, that magazine place. And then they were actually hiring interns. So I was still young, right? So I could be an intern. And so that's why I applied. And I got accepted. And so I started working as a journalist for writing about, food and beverage, fashion and style trends, those columns, for a year, roughly a year, before I decided to take on a new journey of studying fashion as a undergraduate degree. And so that's what got me to there. But honestly, why I brought this up as in a societal influence is that I thought I needed to go to university, right? In the first place, but it turns out it's not something that I wanted. So all along, I didn't know what I am, who I am, and not even know who I'm not. But it's only through this kind of like trial and error. But it took quite some time, right? Only then I would come to know that, oh, I actually don't like this. I can't work in the kitchen. I can't da. It's all about trial and error. And education. It seems to me that societal influence, particularly, is that university is the only ticket to success. This is such a, I would say, misconception. Like it's not, but it's become such a standard to entering the job market. And I would say education has become such a business that it is not nurturing or cultivating the fertile ground that is needed for people to thrive on, for young people to actually discover their strengths. But what the education system right now is doing is to nurture robots. And I think I just simply don't agree with it. Is to nurture a workforce rather than to nurture talented individuals who think critically and also able to express themselves and to brainstorm and not stifle other people's expressions and voices when they collide with their own. I think this is the most important thing for education system right now, because if we only have a biased view on a particular direction, that would only become another kind of societal influence where it causes, it's kind of like blindfolding blindfolding us from seeing all other possibilities. And that would inhibit us to discovering who we are, individually, and who we are not. Because we can only hear one voice. But what we need is actually many different opinions and also experiences, because that's what diversity brings us. And that's how we grow in a much more comprehensive way. So this is what it is for societal influence. And when it comes to the next one, would be romantic influence. Romantic influence for me has been a really big part, because I would say intrinsically, I'm a person that's really attracted to love. I would say it's like I'm a very love person. And when it comes to romance, I would be very influenced by romance. So over the years, I'm still learning, I would say, to understanding this, to really stand on my ground, as in not forgetting who I am when I am or was in a romantic relationship. When it comes to romance, or also in my ex marriage, it was, I lost myself. I thought that was what I wanted, but it's actually I did something to try to impress another person, like losing myself, and I didn't realize, oh, that's not what I liked. Not even what I liked, but I was just trying to please the other person. So that habit came from me pleasing my father when I was young. So only when I recognized this pattern would I be able to understand it and break it, right? Breaking out of it. So I have to first recognize, understand, and then change, outgrow it. This is the process for every single pattern, outgrowing any kind of pattern. So pattern recognition, understanding and analysis of it, within oneself, and then taking the actions to actually outgrowing the pattern. So when it comes to romantic influence, most of the time I would be not knowing where I stand, because I was not sure of who I was. So only after these years, I would come to know more and more about who I am and where I stand and what I am not and who I'm not. And what taught me the most when it comes to romantic influence is the power dynamics between me and the other person. Because everybody would have a different life path, as in the people that you would meet romantically, right? You'll be attracted to certain types of people, or a certain type of people would be attracted to you. So for me, I had been meeting people who would admire me at first, but would try to dominate me afterwards, when they got to know me more. And I would say it is a pattern, and I had to consciously recognize it, understand why it would become such a way, and outgrow it. And that pattern, that recognition, started from realizing, why is it that I don't know what I want anymore? Why is it that I have been catering to what this person wants, trying to figure out what he wants, but not what I want? Like, this would be the wake-up call for me when I realized my entire life is that, wait, I have not been cultivating my own life. Like, I've not been doing what I love. I've not been to a certain point that I would even realize that, what is it that I love? What is it that would excite me, that I'm passionate about? It is in these kind of moments when I realized that I lost myself in the relationship. And so this is the recognition. And then the understanding of it would be, I don't actually have to give all aspects of myself to the romantic relationship, because you see, even romantic relationship is just one part of our life, right? So why would I give all aspects of my life to one romantic relationship? To the romantic relationship. I would be, it's not I'm not saying that to refrain myself from loving a person, but it's more of the balance of it. That's why I said it's power dynamics. The power is not even just about between me and the person, but it's also about between me and me recognizing what I truly need and want. Between me interacting and also me interacting with myself, outside and inside. So it's a relationship between myself, within myself, that I have to recognize and understand. And so over time, after I began to understand this power dynamics, I then began to take actions of fighting back. The so-called fighting back is actually to 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 you know finding out or figuring out what it is that I am, and can at the same time possibly have this romantic relationship alongside. But if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, because it's not a one person thing. This has become a, it's mutual, because it's a dynamic, right? It's a two-person situation. It's not that I would say yes, you have to say yes. It's not about this, right? So it has to come to a certain, I would say, coexistence, and also mutual understanding and mutual respect. I wouldn't say it's compromise, but more of respecting the other person's wants and needs. And I would happily do the same in order to make our relationship work, because it's worth it. It's so, because when it comes to compromise, it sometimes has this negative connotation to it, where you have to lose a part of yourself, right? So to compromise, to make something work. But now that I see, how I see compromising is more of, I'm redefining that word for myself. How I see it is more of, we discuss and we take the best out of both of us and see how we can work this out together. And because I value our relationship and you also value our relationship, so we would naturally come into a consensus. So it's more of a consensus than compromise. We would come into a consensus that, okay, this is what we are going to work on together now, and how we are going to navigate towards, because we love each other and we want to continue on our relationship. And so naturally we would adjust our individual lives, different aspects of our lives, in order to make all of these things work together. Yeah. But then in the past, I was not able to understand this. I was not able to understand. So it would then become a really huge fluctuation in the power dynamics between me and the other person. So it would have to end, put the relationship to an end. And that's what actually happened all the time, like even up to today. So that's why, so that's why I would say I'm also still learning about it, how to navigate it. But what I also learned from all these experiences would be really recognizing who I am through the process, and keep taking action to reinforce doing what I love, and exploring possibilities, so to expand my own worldview and understanding more and more about myself. Like, don't stop and just keep exploring, because life is about experiencing, right? So yeah. And I would say lastly, I want to talk about technological influence. That was like one viewer mentioned it, like how technology has influenced our human connections and stuff. And I kind of want to put it in here, because it does have a huge influence on us when it comes to who I am and who I am not. Because a lot of things that we see online right now on the internet, we actually, it's kind of like brainwashing. And especially now in the age of AI, we have come to a point that it's like we are feeding our brains with the information that we're not even sure of if we need it. Like, if we is it even healthy for us? Is it even good for us? And there are so many voices on the internet. Everyone is saying their own thing, and it's based on algorithm that we would receive such videos or posts. So are we actually picking what we want to read, what we want to see, or are we just being fed? I think that's a really crucial question that I'm also asking myself. Like, am I actually being fed, or am I consciously picking what kind of food I want to eat when it comes to technology and also the social media contents, right? So, because even it's not even just about information, but when it comes to technology, is it even what I need, or is just because everybody else thinks is cool and is what you need, so I have to, like, it's the creating of needs that actually we don't need because of business, it's the creating of needs. It's an illusion that you need this phone because you deserve better, you need this beauty product because you deserve it, so it makes you more beautiful. It's kind of this kind of human psychology playing in the background, but this is the tricking the mind to thinking we need this. It's consumerism, right? But do we actually really need it? Not really. I mean, I have been my face, I have been using water only to clean my face, and then one moisturizer, and that's it, day and night, day and night, day and night. Do I need it? Like, do I need beauty products? Do I actually need that much of it? But I mean, if I'm emotionally stable, and also if I eat healthy, I focus on my diet, I think that's the best source of beauty, the ingredients, right? So, I mean, it depends. It depends on personal choices, but I'm just saying that it's really about, so this is how I recognize who I am and who I am not when it comes to consumerism. Do I need this? Do I want this? Is it actually good for me? And then we say, no, I can literally use like I benefit from water, beautiful water, just water. And I'm really grateful. That's the most fundamental source of life. That's water. So, I mean, I'd rather focus my attention on water, sustainability, and conscious living than focusing on something that I realize that is who I am not, right? The beauty products or things like this. But I'm not saying that they are bad or good. It's just that I am not that. So after all of this, when it comes to technology again, the phone, is it actually doing good or bad to my relationship with other people? Am I losing connection, intimacy with other people because I've spent so much time on my phone and just consuming the contents that might not even be healthy for me in the long run? So, and it's also for children as well. It's like, if we are not as adults conscious of this, how would we be able to shape a technologically healthy situation or environment for our children, for our next generations? So I just want to bring up the awareness here from my own experience and point of view. It's very fundamental for us to see into, to see the bigger picture of how it can influence us, especially when it comes to the identity, the sense of identity of oneself, who I am and who I am not, because this shapes children's sense of self and how they see themselves. And if they consume so much content online, they would actually, their image would be distorted, their self-image would be distorted because of so much of the societal influence and unconscious projection from the internet. Okay, and that would really cause them to be very unstable with their own image and not knowing what they actually want and need. I mean, it would take some time for them to figure out, but it would take longer time if they spend this time on internet and absorbing information that would actually confuse their sense of identity of oneself. So yeah, I mean that's it for the five the parts of influences that I would like to speak on. And so now I would just love to wrap it up with how I see it when it comes to who I am and who I'm not. Is that sometimes it really is about the transition in life. Transitions in life is that it's about change and accept. This is like kind of like my mantra since 19 years old. Change and accept, meaning we can only, as humans, navigating on this life, in this life, is to change and accept. Because when I personally encounter any kind of situation that is just uncomfortable, or it feels stuck, I would either have to change it because it's uncomfortable, right? I would have to troubleshoot it to find solution, to understand it. So I recognize the situation, I have to now understand it, and then only then I can take action, right? That's kind of the formula for me. And what's the motivation behind this formula? The driving force would be to change and accept. So I have to accept the reality. I have to accept the situation. So by recognizing it, I have to accept it. And then I have to then take action to change it, right? Through the understanding of it. But that sometimes I also came to realize that it's through the understanding of who I am and who I'm not. Through this process, through situations, I realized that I can't always change. There are times that I actually have to face the reality and simply accept it as it is. It's that I don't actually have to change it anymore. I've tried enough to change. To even changing myself or trying to interact with other people to communicate. But if it's not going anywhere, as in it's eating me up, it's taking my time, and there's no response, then maybe it's really time to see the truth of this is who I am not. And realizing, that's the reality. Like this situation or this role that I am playing is not who I am. So it's the change and accept is to change myself. It's also changing, but it's the changing of the perspective, the understanding that, okay, I actually have to accept it now. It's the facing the reality of it and simply accept it as it is, that I actually can do nothing about it. Like there's nothing more I can do to it, for it, or about it. And it might be a hard truth to swallow, but it really is a way out to freedom, to liberating oneself, because it's the giving in to the hard truth, the reality of it. And it's the giving in, so to let go, so to let it be, so to understand that, okay, I thought I could, but I realized that I actually can't, so I give in to the reality of it, because I've tried. There's no regret, because I've already tried my best, and I know this is who I am now, that I've tried, and I learned a lot through this process. And at this point I realized that who I am not is that I'm just not meant to be here, in this relationship, or in this job, or in this place. I just have to face the reality and take the action of letting go. Yeah, it really is like that. This is how I also experienced. So it's not negative in a sense. Actually, it's quite down to earth and also self-accepting. Because sometimes it would come from a place where I didn't want to accept who I thought I was not. And only when I come, I come face to face with myself, that to realizing that, oh, okay, I'm actually not what I thought I was. Only then I would realize that, okay, I have to accept it now. I was fighting against it, trying to prove that I am this, but actually I'm not. So it has to be resolved. And no matter how hard I try to struggle, try to fight against it, if I'm not an orange, I'm not an orange. I can't force myself to be not an orange. I can't prove myself to be an orange if I'm actually a lemon, let's say, right? So face the reality and accept it is also part of the process of who I am and who I am not. So thank you so much for listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a wonderful day or a wonderful night. And thank you so much for your time, your patience, and your support, and your love. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.